In this video, we're going to make a modern desk, and our final product will look something like this. Okay, so in a new drawing, I'm going to start in the top view in 2D wireframe with ortho, object snap, and object snap tracking on. I'll start out with a polyline, and I'm going to start that polyline at 0, 0, 0, just to make sure I'm starting at the origin point. I'm going to come out 60 inches, up 28, back over 60, and use C for close. So this is going to be the top of the desk. I'm then just going to move this over away from that origin point, so I'm not drawing right on top of it. Then I'll use offset at a distance of 1 inch and just offset this rectangle inside to create the base of the top. Then I'll grab another polyline here, and in this corner I'm going to draw a 1 by 1 inch square. I'm then going to move that square down 1 and over to the right 1 inch to get it kind of centered in that corner. Then I'm going to go up to the View tab, and under Viewport Configuration, I'm going to pick 2 vertical so I can have 2 windows side by side. Right now I'll keep my left view is the top, and my right view over here I'm going to change to Southwest Isometric. While I'm in this view, I am going to extrude this 1 inch by 1 inch square up 27 inches. Once I get that, I'm going to change my UCS to face, and I'm going to click on the front of this tall rectangle. Then I will grab a circle, and starting at this midpoint I'm going to draw a circle with a 0.25 radius. I'm just going to move it down 1 inch, and I'm going to extrude it back -1 inch, so it's going through my tall rectangle. Above it looks like that. So here is the cylinder I just created. Then we can use Array, select that cylinder, enter. We're going to use a rectangular array with 1 column and 24 rows. Maybe something like that. Let's see, I think I'll change the total to 24 to get those to spread out a little bit. There, that looks a little better. Close the array. Then I will move all of these down from this point right here to this point, so that they're all inside of this leg, something like that. Then we can use subtract, select the rectangle, that's the object we want to keep, and then select all of these cylinders. Oh, I think we need to actually explode that array first. So X for explode. I'll select those cylinders and enter, and now they're individual solids. Alright, let's try that subtract again. Now I have to pick them all individually. There we go. And now we have subtraction. It doesn't look like much right now, but if I would change that to a conceptual view, you can see we've actually cut those circles into it. Okay. Change it back to 2D wireframe. And I want to copy these legs around the base of the desk a little bit. So I am going to use mirror, select that leg, enter, change my UCS back to world. There we go. And I'll mirror one across this way. And then I'll use mirror again and grab these two legs and mirror them this way, so I have them in the same location in each corner. In the top view, it looks like that. Then I am going to use my copy command, copy these two legs, grab their base point, and copy them 13 inches to the left. Okay. Now I am going to move these two rectangles straight up 28 inches. I am going to extrude the inside one down -1 inch, and I'll extrude the top one up maybe a ½ inch. Alright, so we have the tabletop and base, and then the 6 legs for the desk. Okay, so we can create the rectangle for the drawer at this point. We can use a polyline, and we'll just draw it along the ground. I'll use my legs as a guide, staying on the inside. C for close. Then I'll make a copy of this rectangle and put it on the outside. I'll extrude this rectangle up 8 inches, and then I'll move it up 4. I'll extrude this extra rectangle just 0.25, and then I'm going to move it over from this point right here, and then I'll copy that from this point down here right up top. Okay, now I'd like to make a handle to go in the front of this drawer. So off to the side I'll use a polyline and do 1 inch, 2 inch, and back another 1 to create a shape like this. You can see it in the top view as well. Then I'll use fillet with a radius of 0.25. With the polyline setting, I'll select that line, and it gave it a nice curve. Then I can grab a circle, give it a radius of perhaps 0.1, and then we'll do a sweep, selecting the circle, enter, and then the polyline. Alright, so we create a solid there. Now I can move that handle, grabbing it at this quadrant point, and I'll snap it right here to the center. Then I will move it over 1 inch, and then I'll move it down 4 inches. So once again, from above, we have the handle on our drawer. Okay, now we just need to create a few of the metal bars that crisscross. So I'll change my top view to a front view. Okay, so we can see our desk from the front. And then off to the side, I'm going to create a couple of lines. I'll do a vertical line at 12 inches, then over 3 feet 5 inches, and back up 12, and then I'm going to create an X in between. Once you've created that X, we can actually get rid of these original guidelines. Then I'll create a few circles. A circle here with 0.1 radius, and the same thing below. We can then use sweep again to create our solids. Now at this point we have two solids that are intersecting here, which isn't ideal, so you might want to actually separate them or something like that. But for now we're just going to leave them there. Okay, so back in our isometric view, I'm going to grab move, select these two lines, and then I'll grab it at its lower quadrant point here, and I'll snap it right to the center of that leg. Then I can do move again, grab those bars, and I'll move them straight up 4 inches. Alright, so that's what it looks like from the front elevation. I'm going to change my view to a left view, line, and I'll do another series of bars. So I'll do a vertical line at 12 inches, off to the right at 1 foot 10 inches, straight up 12, and then I'll do my diagonal lines in between again. Erase out those extras. Do 2 small circles with the 0.1 radius. And of course a sweep. Okay. Then, back in my southwest isometric view, I can move in these bars, grab this lower quadrant point here, snap it into place, and then I'll move it up 4 inches. Then I'm going to copy these bars, put them right there and right there, and then we can move them up again, but this time we'll move them up 13 inches to get them into place. Can change this to a front view just so you can see how our desk is looking. And then finally, if we'd like to put the panel on the side of the desk, we could use a polyline. Go from here to here on the ends of the feet, come out maybe 0.25, come straight back, can line that up, and do C for close. We can then extrude this up maybe 8 inches, and then we can move this panel from this point straight up. Okay. If we want to look at this in perhaps a conceptual or maybe even X-ray view, we can see our desk is looking complete. Alright, so here it is in the 1 tone. And then here is the previous version we looked at the beginning of the video.